Welcome to Sofcock Appreciation Week 2024. I invite you to get comfortable as you join us for what I like to call cockversations, discussions, or grown folk putting their heads together and sharing ideas in authentic and real ways. Now be aware we don't hold back in our language, and what follows is not for overly sensitive or easily kerfuffled ears. And before we dive in, remember, what is shared here is not meant to be, nor is it a replacement for medical advice. Whenever you notice changes in your body or that of a loved one, especially in how the penis is functioning, please seek out medical consultation. What the penis is saying could literally save a life. Thank you for supporting us. If you take away something useful from this, please let us know, write a review, spread the word, and keep coming back for more. Are you ready? Let's do it. Hello, hello. I am Erica Leroye, your hostess for 2024 Sofcock Appreciation Week. And I am so excited today to have one of my new friends with us. This is Carl the Toy Guy, owner of PTTreasures. I first crossed paths with Carl back in 2020 during the pandemic when we were both on Clubhouse.
That is correct.
That is correct. And for those of you who don't know, weren't part of what that was back in the day, when all of us were sheltering in place, and especially for those of us who are a little bit sex positive, kinky, we were like, where is our community when we can't go out into the world? And there was a real thriving community that was growing on Clubhouse at that time. I was connected to people who were doing incredible things around sex tech and toys. And through that exploration, I came across a couple rooms where Carl the Toy Guy was speaking, and I said, you are someone that I want to get to know and learn more about. So this year, when Sofcock Appreciation Week was handed over to me, I was thinking, one of the issues that I see all the time when I'm working with men and couples who are working with erectile disappointment and trying to figure out what to do, that toys become a really important part of the conversation. And I'm really excited today to have Carl the Toy Guy, owner of PTTreasures, with us to talk about toys, share with us some toys, and just dive into the wonderful world of play and exploration that toys bring us. So, Carl, would you share with us first a little bit about your path to becoming the toy guy?
Sure, not a problem. Well, first things first, Erica, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And I just want to say it was awesome connecting with you on Clubhouse back in the day. And I'm looking forward to this podcast here. So for myself, how I became a toy guy is that it all started back to my days of being an entertainer, stripper, you can say. I did that back in college. I had a friend that was in the adult entertainment, or I should say sex toy industry. And she mentioned to me that that I should, sell sex toys after I performed, like for my clientele that was mostly ladies. And at first I didn't really want to do it. And then she kind of talked me into it, and it was like the best decision ever. So from there, I had, a competing life where it was more so of dancing or selling sex toys. And then sex toys actually just became like, a big, large boom. And there you have it. The name was actually born out of during a party in Baltimore. A group of ladies kind of gave me the moniker, the toy guy, and it stuck, and the rest is history.
That's so wonderful. Fabulous. So one of the things that I want to start us out with, because, you're clearly really comfortable with toys. I'm really comfortable with toys, but I feel like a lot of people just get blocked when they come
Right.
to toys.
hmm
And I'm curious, first, how you overcame any blocks that you might have had. And then, in your own journey. And
hmm
then, when you're working with clients, when people are, consulting with you about, I don't even know where to begin. Like, what do you notice are blocks that people have, and how do you help them cross over that line with getting more comfortable playing with toys and bringing toys into their sex life?
Okay. Well, that's a great question. As for me, I became comfortable because once I got into this industry, it was more so of just educating myself, right? I didn't know what I didn't know. And when you grow up in the inner city of Baltimore and you're mostly around, African American men, uh, you know, pleasuring yourself is not something that's, that's actually talked about, right?
Mhm.
More so how you work to get pleasure is from, from a vulva owner. Any and everything around evolving your pleasure, or I should say evolving your pleasure or involving your pleasure, excuse me, it's all about female anatomy, right? So as I got into this industry, I got a chance to learn what these toys were, what they were used for, whether it be for penis owners, vulva owners, whatever the case may be. And slowly but surely, I just started trying them. And then I just
Mhm.
became comfortable. And then over time, I really just didn't care what other people actually thought about me and or what they thought about pleasuring themselves, whatever the case may be. I just know it felt good to me. It's something
Mhm.
that I wanted to try. And I wanted to also be able to share my experience and expertise with my clients, right? Whether it be vulva owners or penis owners. Being a married man, it's kind of hard to sell these products if you don't know what they do, right?
Right.
I can
Mhm.
read on a box and say, oh yeah, it has 10 speeds, 10 functions. But as I've gotten a chance to be very intimate with these products, I can tell you, you may not like that because this is, a little too loud. Or if you have kids or something like
Mhm.
that, maybe this is a little too much, too powerful. Or if you're going to be traveling a lot, you don't want something that's, pretty clunky and large. You want something very small, compact, and discreet, like things of that nature. And it actually, over time has actually been very beneficial to my clients. Now, one of the things I can say is that where I see the block is because it's a multitude of things. One, it can be a person's religious background,
Mhm.
right? It can, that has played a big factor in that. I know, like in the African American community, it's, oh no, I'm shamed, I'm a Christian or Catholic or whatever the case may be. Or, they just grew up in that not Rust Belt, but in the Bible Belt, like in the Deep South, where all of those things is a no. All of it is hush
Mhm.
hush, those type of things.
Or
Sometimes,
illegal, right? Aren't
or,
there
or,
some
or
states
illegal.
where, like I noticed on your website, there's a disclaimer, right? Because in
That's
some
right.
states, owning a sex toy isn't even it's
That
illegal.
that's correct. And one of those states is Alabama. Shame on you, Alabama.
Yes.
So the other thing can just be like from a man's perspective is more so just being macho, and anything using a toy, touching a toy, whatever the case may be, is deemed as being gay, right?
Mhm.
So so then a lot of penis owners, in their mind, it's like, can I even play with this, for fear of someone knowing that they're playing with this, and then they're labeled as gay, a homo, whatever the case may be. And that's where we tend to have these problems. Or they're in a relationship and they haven't necessarily talked it out with their partner, and they're just ashamed to even pleasure themselves for fear of what their partner may think of them.
Mm. Those are great. Those are such important points around the blocks. I think in my experience, there are a couple other blocks that I'll bring up and see what you think about. So, because I'm working generally with men who, are challenged with their erectile function. So
Right.
when I encourage them to use a toy with their partner, I get that means I'm less than the
Yes.
toy,
Yes.
that if we bring a toy into our playtime, into our sex time, then, and especially if it's because I'm not getting hard enough to penetrate,
Hmm.
when instead of bringing in a dildo, instead of bringing in a toy, there's this fear
Hmm.
that, you know, um, my partner's going to see me as less than a man if
Right.
the toy is doing quote unquote my job.
Correct.
That would be one. The other is I can't feel, I don't feel my partner if I'm
Hmm.
using a toy.
Hmm.
That would be another one. And then, then definitely the like, I don't even know how to say that I like using a toy.
Right.
Asking for what I want is a big block for both partners. And
Absolutely.
then, if we use toys, the toys are going to become always the go-to, and we're never going to want anything but this.
Or something that I've also heard is that the toy is going to replace me, right?
Yes.
So when I first got into this business, I heard that a lot. Now, one of the things that I've worked to try to dispel that myth is a being someone that's married, right? And I just celebrated 12 years of marriage not too long
Congratulations.
ago, right? Thank you. And but more so, just showing men or penis owners is like, hey, it's okay to use these products. You're not going to be replaced, and then also giving them that safe space to basically say, yeah, I do want to try. And then also talking to their partner and essentially just saying like, hey, just like how you want to have a safe space, you want to be able to pleasure yourself. You don't want to be deemed as a freak or nasty or whatever the case may be. Allow your partner to also have that space as well. And is
Mhm.
from an individual that's married, that's African American, that's a male, it's kind of like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like, this is great. So it's kind of like I'm able to speak to like, like multiple different areas, right? Because a
Mhm.
lot of time in marriages, it's like we don't want to use these particular products because, it's, in the Bible, it says you're not supposed to use it or whatever the case may be, or my partner's going to think that I'm less than, or the toy is going to replace me. By being a male, right? One of the things is like a lot of men just believe in all you need is my penis and that's it. You don't need anything else, right?
Mhm.
So, I'm able to kind of, help them out there. And then just being African American, where a lot of us, we're just behind in pleasure, just in general. So being
Mhm.
able to come to step to the forefront and be able to say like, hey, here's what's going on, right? Try this. This is new. This is great. Orgasms, it's awesome. Pleasure, the type of pleasure you're going to get is out of this world. And yes, you should try this with your partner. And it's kind of like, if he's willing to try this, then I'm willing to give it a shot. And to me, I think that that's, like a trifecta that has worked for me.
Mhm. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I was thinking about how, like, in my early marriages, toys weren't really ever a part of my relationship, and it wasn't
Right.
really until I was with my partner who passed away,
Hmm.
a Baltimore boy.
Yay.
Yay! And, our whole sex life was really this dynamic because he had erectile issues.
Okay.
And that was really the expansion for me. I mean, that's what led me into the work
So,
that I do now.
okay.
And to be able, what would happen is when, the kind of the agreement that we made was, when he was hard enough to penetrate, we would
Hmm.
have penetration with his
Right.
body.
Right.
And when he wasn't, then what were all the other things that we could find that turned us on? So
Absolutely.
being able to, like, I remember going together to shop for toys and having the excitement of like, what do you think about that? What do you think about that? And just even like doing the picking together, whether it was online or in person,
Right.
gave us the charge of we're in this together. And then having this experience, and I think this kind of goes to the piece that I mentioned about, I can't feel my partner's pleasure,
Right.
is that there's a there's a way to connect, and I'm curious, I want to hear what you have to say about this because I feel
Sure.
like a lot of penis havers, when they first start using a toy on a partner, like if they're
Hmm.
not penetrating, but they're using not like a vibrator, but more of something that is a penetrating
Hmm.
device,
Hmm.
that it becomes like it's very mechanical
Hmm.
and it is very disconnected. And I think a lot of couples, whether they're same sex or, male female,
Right.
they then they don't want to play with toys anymore because it does feel like this is not connecting us.
Right.
So I'm curious, like in your own experience and when you're guiding people, how do you help people think about using toys in a way where they can feel their partner's pleasure, where it feels not like this is something that's separating us, but
Right.
that this is something that's connecting us and that we're enjoying together?
Gotcha. So first things first is just having conversations about just sex in general, right?
Mhm.
And then also just being comfortable about what you're into, what you like, what are your dislikes, and how you like to be pleasured. From there, it's either shopping online or it's going into a store and saying, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Is the color okay? The types of
Mm,
materials, is this too loud? Whatever the case may be, how many functions, how many vibrations. And then when you actually get that toy, one of the things that I recommend, like couples or whoever is going to be doing like the penetration, to actually get used to playing with or trying the toy, right?
mm,
Take it out of the box, make sure you clean it, right? Charge it up if it needs to be charged or add batteries to it and press the various different buttons.
mm,
Get a feel for, when you press the button to the far right, does it create a buzzing sensation? or vibrating sensation? Does it make any type of noise? Whatever the case may be, there's a twirling, a jabbing, sensation, whatever it is. And then just start slowly but surely moving around on those buttons. It's no different
Mm.
than you utilizing your iPhone, right? Ultimately, what happens is you get comfortable with the various different settings. Then when you are playtime with your partner, essentially before you guys really get into the actual act, figure out like, what all were you looking to accomplish here, and or, how would you like to work to play with this product? And what I always recommend is actually using these products in the form of foreplay, right?
Mm.
Because
Mhm.
then ultimately what happens is that it allows you to be able to really, hone in on various different areas of your partner's body. You can see what they like, what they dislike, because their body will start talking to you, right? And then from there you'll go, okay, they really like that. They did not like this. And also you can speak during sex. Hey, I'm just checking in. Are you fine? If the person says no, then, you figure out, or what else can you do better, or whatever the case may go from there. So yes, I definitely would recommend, like foreplay, and then just over time, just really getting used to the product, and then just slowly but surely figuring out the various different ways you can use it. And
Mm.
also, once you finish your session, right, then actually kind of debrief, right, with your
Mm.
partner, and essentially say like, hey, what did you like? What did you didn't like? Was this pattern too strong? Whatever the case may
Mm.
be. Because from there, then what you can do is kind of build like, like notes, whether it's mental notes or actually writing notes down, like on a piece of paper. Then you know that my partner really likes, speed 3 through 5. Anything over
Mm.
5 was just too intense, whatever the case
Right.
may be, and continually to play and touch with that toy. So essentially it becomes, one when you're
Mm.
in your session.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. And what's coming to mind for me as you're saying that too is not only speed, but if you're like, for me, I'm not a big vibration person, but I
Right.
love myself. I love like a glass toy.
Absolutely.
But, what I've come to learn when working, when playing with a partner is, oh, it's really just like the first 2 to 3 inches.
Hmm.
Right? Like, I don't need, like with a toy, it's not so much about getting all the way in and getting into that cervical. It's
Right.
really hanging out in that opening and kind
Right.
of, can you get all the nerves there? And that's something that I've realized I have to coach someone on
Yes.
first,
Yes.
and be able to say, okay, whoa, like I know you're enthusiastic.
Right. Right.
Right, because that's the thing is that I think when when toys come in, it brings up a lot. If it doesn't bring up the I don't know what I'm going to do
Right.
or how to play, the other side of it is it's like high level enthusiasm,
Right.
which
And
can sometimes be more focused on I'm excited about this and I'm not tuned into my partner.
absolutely. And something else that I want to chime in here is that for the person that's actually doing the penetration on your partner, please throw out of your mind any and everything that you saw on porn, right?
Mm,
A lot
yeah.
of things that we see on porn is just, it's just not real. Or, it's rehearsed or whatever case may be. So it's exactly what you said, taking a
Mhm.
glass toy or a dildo or whatever the case may be, and you're taking it and kind of ramming it into, like a vagina, or like, someone's anus or whatever the case may be. Not everybody likes everything rough, right?
Right.
Some people may like rough, but it's gradual. Some people, like you said, with a glass toy maybe only need just the first inch or two, maybe three, no more than
Mhm.
that, right? Some individuals, it just might not be their day, right?
Mhm.
Normally they can, take the entire toy, whatever case may be, but they may not be in that particular mood or whatever the case may be. Again, it's all about talking to your partner, checking in with your partner, recognizing your partner's body language,
Mhm.
when you're going through like your pleasure session, and go from there. But the only way that you really get a thorough understanding of sex toys, what I tell people is to actually use them on yourself, is
Mm.
to actually have products for yourself. That way you can be an advocate for yourself when you're talking to someone or your partner, whatever the case may be, which is, what you like, you can express what you like, and then go from there. So you can clearly articulate your, like your pleasure. And if that person can't get on that wavelength, then, it's, hey, we need to sit down, reevaluate, and then go from
Mhm.
there. Because sex shouldn't be painful. You shouldn't have to, like go through anything that you don't necessarily want to have to go through in order to please someone else. You should be able to enjoy whatever pleasure feels and looks like to you.
Mm, that's great. Earlier today, I was having a conversation with someone getting ready to have this conversation with you, and she said,
Awesome.
"Oh, one of the things that maybe would help is having more." I mean, you brought up the foreplay, so this is connected to that, but actually, like thinking of the toy, as your like other, that there is this other element, right? This other being in the play. And
Hmm.
rather than it just being this like, okay, here's this silicone thing that's to the side and now we're bringing it in, actually
Right.
including in the foreplay, like
Absolutely.
having the toy maybe stroke your neck or
Hmm.
feeling, taking the time to stroke it, right?
Yep.
To feel it, to connect with it in a way where it feels more like it's a partner in the game,
Absolutely.
right? Than it is just this thing that like, okay, now we're bringing this in and it's just been sitting there.
Right. And then also another thing too is that individuals can look at, like you said, like sex toys as like, it's one within the session. And like I like to tell a lot of my clients is that sex toys can be used for more than what their intended use is. So I'll give you an
Mm,
example.
yeah.
If you actually have a vibrator that's mainly for clit stimulation, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that's all that it's used for. So you can get creative. You can blindfold your partner, whether
Mhm.
your partner is a penis owner or a vulva owner, right? Like you say, you can rub it up and down their neck by taking one sense away, your other four senses
Mhm.
heightens, right? From there, you can use it for nipple play. You can run it down the inner part of their thigh, like the back of their neck, around their kneecap area or behind their kneecap.
Mm.
You can run it at the balls of their feet, whatever the case may be. If you like to ride or whatever the case may be, you can put it under a man's testicles or whatever the case may be. Next time you're giving oral pleasure, you can put it on the side of your cheek, under your chin. It can make your mouth vibrate. You have all of these
Mm.
various different things that you can, use sex toys for, right? It's just because it says clit use or anal use only or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Get creative and go from there. And also that kind of help relaxes everyone. And even if you fumbled through some buttons, hey, I've been doing this for 13 years and I try new toys all the time. And I still fumble with buttons and things of that nature because I think to myself, oh, I know everything what there is about sex toys, but then you end up learning something new, right?
Mhm.
That foreplay time is what you can really learn because sometimes you might hit a button and realize, oh, I turned it off. So, you can really kind of get a feel for the various different things and go from there. So yeah,
Mm.
so definitely sex toys can be used more for than what is just its main intended use.
Mm. Just your whole description, I don't know if you saw you made my body just like shiver and melt.
I did.
With each I could just picture all of the different places that things were happening on me, which reminds me I wanted to bring up, one of the things that changed for me in my relationship to toys is I went
Mhm.
to a prostate cancer conference way back, like
Okay.
in 2017, 18.
Hmm.
And there was a doctor who was talking about doing telerobotic surgery,
Hmm.
prostate surgery. So I,
Okay.
I believe he was in maybe Seattle
Okay.
and he was doing prostate surgery. So really delicate robotic surgery on people in rural Eastern Oregon, right?
Wow.
So they would be in a clinic and he would be in the hospital in Seattle
Hmm.
and he would be putting his hands inside of some kind of robotic glove
Hmm.
that then made the equipment work at the clinic across the country.
Oh, wow.
And he talked about how he trained, that part of being able to do this was training himself to be able to feel into, the glove and into, whatever he was working on his end
Hmm.
as if it was, connected to his body, right? That
Absolutely.
everything that
Absolutely.
his, that he was watching a screen and then had to be connected. And then I walked away from that conference and I thought, that's what I need to do when I wear a strap on,
Right.
right? And that's what,
Right.
like I need to not have it just be like this thing that feels separate from me, but what is it that I need to do to train my mind or, if it's not a strap on, if I'm working with something with my hand,
Right.
what is it that makes it so that, I can feel that this is still like that I can feel into my partner's pleasure
Hmm.
because, I've been in there maybe before. I know what
Right.
it's like in there, or I know what it's like on there, or where,
Right.
I know my partner's body. So my mind has that information.
Hmm.
And then I can, allow my own body to feel connected to the toy
Hmm.
in a way. And this is on myself too. I mean, even when I'm playing with a toy by myself, I'm like, well,
Absolutely.
if I don't do this piece, then it just feels very mechanical. But if I like bring in some recall of like, oh, this feels like so and so, or I remember when my legs were spread like this and it was in, on the beach in this position or whatever.
Right.
But when I fill out, when I use this part, when I use my mind a little bit more,
Hmm.
with the toy. Because again, I think a lot of people, what I hear, well, I have people come to me with, their big bag of toys. And they're like, I keep buying toys, but, none of them work.
Right.
Right. None of them work because what they're expecting is they're going to hit a button and the toy is supposed to just do something to them.
Right.
And
Well,
some toys are like that. But a
right.
lot of toys, you still have to bring a little bit of something of yourself to the game.
What, right, either that, your imagination, whatever the case may be, and also because I get a lot of that too from my clients, right? And I mainly get it from my vulva owners or from my ladies, which is like they will watch something they saw on porn or on like what I like to call, like porn Twitter, right?
Hmm.
Or X now. And it's just like, oh, this toy made this woman squirt across the room. I'm buying it because that I needed for it to do myself. And it's just like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. Are you known to be a squirter? Not to
Hmm.
say that you can't squirt, but at the end of the day, right, it's getting to know your body, right? Some people can actually, play with a toy and kind of squirt on command. If you don't have that type of control over your body, then you're going to say to me, Mr. Toy Guy purchased this toy and it doesn't work. It sucks, whatever the case may be. When in actuality, it's all about learning your body and learning what you like, right? You
Right.
don't know if all of us, if all you've ever purchased were just bullets, right?
Hmm.
Like right now, a lot of people are into the rose. Oh my God, the rose is great. But then there's some of my clients will say, it did not work for me. I didn't like it, or whatever the case may be. My next question to you is what brand did you get, right? Where
Mm.
did you get it from? You know, a lot of these toys are not the same. So I'll give you an example, right? Your toy that you buy online from something like, like Amazon, whatever the case may be, right? They're not all the same. You can
Mm.
have two roses that look the same. One actually has 10 functions and 5 vibration patterns. Another one can have 3 functions and 3 vibration patterns, or I should say suction patterns, right?
Mm.
So they look the same. And then also, if you kind of cut them open, you can see that their motors are different, right? There's a lot of sex toys that
Mm.
are on the black market, things of that nature. Those are dupes. They're not the real thing. Also tell a lot of ladies is that, or vulva owners, I should say, is did you use lube on a toy, on like the inner circle of the toy? Did you move it around on your clit in order to try to create that vacuum seal and then go from there? Did you set your mood, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Did you have, like silk sheets? Did you have a glass of wine or whatever your favorite drink is? Is you eating chocolate? You have soft music? Did you dim the lights? Did you keep your socks on? Whatever the case may be, all of these things play into the factor, but it's for them is what they see on television or what they see on Twitter or on porn. Well, this person didn't have to do this and they were able to get off. So I want to be able
Mm.
to do the same thing. And the issue is that everybody needs to learn their own body and what works at their own pace, right?
Mhm.
And so yeah, so I get a lot of that too.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. Well, you brought up a couple important points there. So before we transition into what I'm very excited to get into, which is looking at some toys together,
Awesome.
let's talk a little bit about um, cleaning toys,
Yes.
lube and toys,
Yep.
toy materials, like, for people who are new, for
Hmm.
people who are, either just starting out with like, okay, maybe after today, I'm going to, do a little toy shopping or bring some toys, feel more comfortable bringing some toys into my own pleasure practice or into my practice with my partner or partners. what are like kind of the first things that people need to be thinking about in terms of like materials,
Hmm.
lube, because I know there's some rules, right? There's
Yeah.
some basic rules about lube and toys,
Right.
and whatever the third thing was I said.
Gotcha. So yeah, so essentially when I'm talking to clients or potential clients about sex toys, before we can get to the toy part, we got to establish a base, right? That base is that you need to have toy cleaner, you want to have lube, and then you just want to learn about the various different products. That's the baseline. So first things first is when it comes to the types of toy materials, right? You have glass, you have TPE material, you have ultra skin, you have realistic feeling, or real, what they call real feel. You have silicone, you have medical grade silicone. You have toys that are what they call like non-porous, right? So essentially what that is that those are type of toys that can't be 100% clean,
Mm,
right? So they have like these little micro holes in them that you can't even see with the naked eye. So what we do is that if you like that type of toy, you want to use that toy, you need to have some type of barrier method over top. That barrier method is going to be a condom,
mhm,
right? So those are just some of the various different materials that toys are made out of. Oh, and by the way, last one, which is ABS plastic, right?
mm,
So that's there. Now, when we talk about cleaning toys, again, some people will say, oh, well, I just use regular soap and water. Maybe once or twice, okay, but not over the long haul. Because what happens is the chemicals that sex toys are made out of based upon the chemicals that are in or the ingredients that are in whatever it is, whether you're using dial soap or whatever the case,
mm,
any type of mild soap, okay, how mild it is over time, it's going to break it down, right? So hence why we want to use toy cleaner in order to clean your sex toys. Now, when it comes to lube, you have various different types of lube. You have flavored lube, you have water-based lube, you have silicone lube, you have hybrid lube, right? And then you also have aloe vera and things of that nature as well.
mhm,
But just the baseline hybrid, which is Mr. Toy Guy, what is that? Hybrid is essentially water-based silicone mix hybrid, right? Then you have your standard water-based lube. We know what that is. And then you have your silicone lube. Then you also have like your flavored lubes. I always recommend if you're going to use flavored lubes, use those on your body and things of that nature because most of them are edible.
mhm,
Never really want to put that into your private areas, right? And because 9 times out of 10, they got this one ingredient in it called glycerin. And
mm,
that glycerin tends to be an irritant or, throws off like pH, like for ladies or vulva owners and go from there. So I always recommend you want to use it for your nipples, fine. You want to use it on your stomach, your
mm,
arms, your feet, all well and fine. Get to your personal areas, let's not do that, right? And then also when it comes to lube, you want to look at the type of toys that you have. If you have a silicone toy, you want to use water based. If your toy is made out of glass, then you can use silicone lube, right? And then certain types of toys like ABS plastic or ABS plastic, you can use silicone or water based. So it's pretty much,
mhm,
like take your pick. It's a lot to learn. But ultimately the main thing is that you definitely want to have toy cleaner. You definitely want to have lube. And then we just have to figure out what type of toy that you're interested in. So the main thing you always want to ask yourself, which is, what am I trying to stimulate? And then
mm,
based from there, you can kind of reverse engineer and go from there. But yes, lube and toy cleaner are the main components or the foundation you should have
mm.
before making all different, whatever your purchases are when it comes to sex toys.
Wonderful. I know I've met a couple people where the fact that they have to clean the toy is the thing that makes them not want to play with the toy.
Right,
And that's where I generally say, like, then just put a condom on it, and then it's a lot
right,
easier to,
right.
handle, especially, toys that have ridges or things where it
Absolutely.
can be, a whole thing.
Right.
But not to
Now,
mention that sometimes, at least for me as a vulva owner, um, when I switched into, you know, playing with new partners or multiple partners, and having to like go back into the world of using condoms.
right.
I started using condoms on my toys to get myself used to, right? Because it's the same thing. Like, what kind of condom do I want to use? What gives me an irritation? What is the lube that works with it best? Does it fit over something that's bigger? Does it fit over something that's smaller?
Right.
So I love what you're saying too, which is just practice
Yes.
with all of this too. Practice
Absolutely.
cleaning, practice trying out the different lubes and seeing,
What you
oh,
like.
what do I like?
Right. And so let me just chime in there. Is just like, so I'll give you an example, like silicone lube, right? You have different types of silicone lube, and people are like, huh? And what I mean by that is you have the viscosity. Some
Mm,
people like their silicone lubes thicker. Some like them thinner, right? The thicker the lube, it creates that barrier that we're talking about. Some people, when it comes to a hard toy like glass, they like to have something thicker because it's
mm,
easier to maneuver, whether they're using it for anal, vaginal, whatever the case may be, right? Someone like myself, I prefer a thinner lube, right? Something that's easy to coat the product and be able to use it for whatever you're going to use it for. So that's just some of the
mhm.
various different things, that's there. So I just wanted to, mention that as it relates to just silicone lube.
Perfect. Perfect. Are there particular lubes that you like?
Yes, absolutely it is. So, like, be honest with you, I am a big fan of Sliquid. I'm a big fan of Pure, or some people say Pure, but Pure. I am also a fan of, so let's see, Sliquid. Um, and then also I like Good Clean Love as well.
Mm, mhm. Nice. And I'll throw in there that for silicone lube, I'm a fan of Uber Lube, not
Yes,
the
and
dispenser.
yes,
Not I mean,
and
they're hard to dispense, but I like the product.
I agree. And
Yeah.
that's another one that I was trying to remember.
Mhm,
So yes, I am a very big fan of Uber Lube as well.
mhm. Yeah, water-based lube, I have a hard time finding. What do you recommend for that?
For water-based lube, I really like the company Sliquid,
Mhm,
right?
okay.
It's pH balance. It's for women. Yeah, it's just an overall great lube. And
Mhm.
also with water-based, you have to always reapply, right?
Yeah.
But I've just learned that the various different types of lubes that I've tried, Sliquid is one that really stands out to me.
Mhm, good.
That and that
Go
and
ahead.
also System gel.
Okay, good. And I think we should just add in here, because it's always a good thing to remind people that spit only goes so far.
Yes, yes. In my mind, it's kind of nasty. Like
Yeah.
I don't like
Mhm.
it. So my thing is just use lube, please.
Mhm,
And
yes.
also another caveat I want to throw in here: your lube does expire after so
Mm.
many years, so please check the expiration dates on your lubes. And if it has expired or is getting close to that date, my thing is either you use it, or if it's past the expiration date, throw it away just like you would throw away anything else.
Ooh, that's a good helpful tip right there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so now let's transition to, here we are. It's I didn't ask you. Cock, is that a word you like? Dick, would you rather use dick? What's your
Cock,
word?
cock, penis, dick,
Dick. It's
balls. I
all
mean,
okay.
it's all the same.
Okay.
Doesn't matter to me.
Okay. So now let's talk about specifically, here we are, it's Sofcock Appreciation Week.
Right.
And, for people who have erectile disappointment,
Hmm.
and inconsistencies,
Right.
let's talk about what are the toys that we can, share and think about that that are really good for this population, right? So we're looking at, when you're in a situation where, maybe you've had, a prostatectomy, or
Hmm.
you have diabetes, or you have some other things where, like,
Hmm.
your dick just isn't going to get hard.
Right.
Penetrative play isn't part of the equation, right? So
Hmm.
that's like one situation. Another is you have, what my partner used to call ebb and flow issues, right? Where
Right.
maybe you can have some time during the playtime where you're able to do penetrative sex, but then it's going to wane. And rather than, you know, we're done,
Right.
right? What can we bring in for toys? And then also toys that are good, from in my world, because because like to coach people. I believe
Hmm.
that you got to practice for what you want to be good at. There's a lot of
Absolutely.
toys that are out there for people who have a penis to practice with, to play
Hmm.
with on their own, that
Hmm.
both they can play with just to learn their own bodies and their own pleasure, but also they're ones that they can use to help simulate what they might have in partnered sex. So, time for some show and tell.
Sure.
Yeah. And
I'm
we'll
with
just
it.
look at a bunch of toys, from the perspective of this is to just put out on the buffet, because that is really the thing that a lot of us who are working with erectile disappointment come up against, is
Okay.
that the mind says, penetration is the main course and everything else is
Absolutely.
less than. And what
Right.
we're really expanding with Sofcock Appreciation Week is
hmm
penetration is one piece of a delicious feast,
I agree with
right?
you. I
So
agree with you.
let's put some more things on the feast table. Hello, friends. I wanted to pop in here for just a second and say that the rest of this episode, we are showing the different toys. And while you can get plenty just from listening, if you are interested in seeing them, then head on over to our YouTube at Sofcock Week, or over to our website, www.softcockweek.com, where you'll be able to take a look at the video and see exactly what it is that Carl's holding up as we're talking.
So one of the toys that I first want to talk about is something that's called like the hot octopus, right? So essentially, like it looks like, like it's curved and almost, you can say, kind of like a mini taco, right? Like abbreviated version of a taco. And that's like these little wings. And ultimately what happens is like when you have the penis, right? What happens is that all you're doing is you're just stimulating like the head and the under part. So it kind of cuffs over. And then what happens is like it creates pulsing sensations, right? So actually it can help that individual to maybe semi get hard or just give some type of pleasure just in general, right? Now what ends up happening is that you have something like this, um, which is this little toy that you see here. Pretty much does the same thing that I mentioned about with the hot octopus, right? This particular one right here is called the head game. So what happens is you can actually turn this on and then you put it right over the head, right? And then what happens is that it start having little vibrational waves where they can actually feel pleasure that way as well.
So these are ones where you don't have to be hard to use,
Correct,
right? Because
correct.
some
You
people,
don't.
they get stuck because they think, oh, I don't even want to play with a toy because the nature of a toy is that I have to already be hard. But these are
No,
toys where you
you
can be soft and you can just
absolutely.
be getting more of that, like the orgasmic.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. And then here's another thing. Even though that you're soft, you can still lube up and you still can be able to penetrate
Mm,
some toys because of the lube allowing you to be able to get through the tunnel. And then you can go from there, right?
mm,
So for the individuals that may be able to get, or what we speak of like with the ebb and flows, right? You can use something along the lines of like this. I know it kind of looks, pretty intimidating,
mm.
right? So what happens is that you can insert your penis through here, whether you're soft or maybe you're semi-hard. And then when you turn it on, what this does is it actually strokes back and forth,
Can
right?
can you turn it on?
Let's see here. Give me 1 second here. I know you guys may not be able to hear it. So,
I can. No, you can hear that.
okay.
hmm Okay.
And like literally it's shaking my hand.
Right.
And then I can increase the speed here.
Mm. So this is one where, so this is kind of in the realm of strokers. Would this be kind of in
Correct.
the stroker family?
That's
And
correct.
and so there's strokers where the whole stroker, the stroker covers the entirety of the head and shaft, the glands in the shaft. And then there's
That's
ones
correct.
like this one, you can have, you can kind of be partially out of it,
That's correct.
or you can kind of manipulate where you want it to be on the shaft.
Absolutely, you
Oh,
can.
that's nice. Yeah.
Absolutely, you can. And this is something that I've actually tried being, like being soft. And what I ultimately like about it is like I said before, you can literally just lube up around like the head of your penis, you know, get it inserted into like the hole here, right? And then
Mhm.
just keep it there. Just keep it there for a second and then
Mm.
turn it on. And then ultimately what happens is that let the toy do the work. You don't have to do anything. And then you literally can just hold your penis, right? And then just allow it just to stroke back and forth
Oh,
and just
nice.
keep your hand where where you really want to be able to control. And then from there, other toys that I wanted to show here is that like for the penis owners that don't mind being penetrated, right? Then you can use something like this, right? So this is from the brand called Eneros. So this is a toy that's for prostate play. So it inserts in your anus. Or and ultimately what happens is that you're expanding and contract, it's like your muscles there. And then ultimately what happens is that kind of gives you like a lot of like euphoric, like orgasmic feelings like throughout your body as well. So you not necessarily have to think everything has to come through your penis.
Go hold that one up again. I just want to,
Absolutely.
I think it's important because a lot of people, when they think about, oh, there's going to be something in my anus, the mind immediately goes to, it's going to be big,
That's right. It's going to be
right?
big.
It's
It's going to
going to
be
be
a
big,
dick,
right?
right? It's going, they, in their mind, they feel like it's going to, rupture their anus or whatever the case may be. Or immediately they're going to think they're gay or whatever the case may be. And that's just not the
Right.
case, right? And the one thing I like about this brand is that they make really, really good toys, awesome toys for penis owners. And but more importantly is that again, you see it's not shaped like a dildo, it's not shaped like a dong or anything like that, right? And then they also have like these little wings as well that actually kind of like press up against your perineum as well, or your perineum, tomato, tomato, and then pretty much go from there.
So it's important, one of the things that's important always to remember with things that go up your butt is you do want it to have some kind of base because
That's
the
correct.
anal sphincter, will is like a vacuum and it will
That's correct.
suck it up.
That's
And so
correct.
this is nice because it kind of grips right there and it's in between your cheeks, right? As opposed to like some things that are very big that have a very
Absolutely.
big base. So that's
That's
nice.
right.
And, for people with a penis where, especially if they are having erectile issues, that sometimes getting that pressure and having something on the prostate
That's correct.
can actually part of what it does is, it gives proprioception. It gives the mind the awareness of like that the penis actually goes all the way through the body. It's not just hanging there on the
Again,
outside, right? That
absolutely.
there's a lot of penis inside the cavity.
Right.
And so having
Absolutely.
something kind of at the base can help with as you're stroking, as you're doing things, you can feel a little bit more the
Absolutely.
sense of engorgement
That's
because
right.
you have something there in behind.
That's right. And then also the other thing too is that you don't just have to use each one of these products that I just showed independently. You can
Mm,
actually use them together, right? That can
right.
actually help you, like get some more feeling as well. So yeah, and then I didn't bring it today, but you also have like nipple suckers as well,
Mhm,
right? So that's something that you can use too to kind of give you a various different feeling as well. Like again, like what you said, not everything has to go through the penis.
mhm.
So there's something else I wanted to show there.
Great.
Any other questions?
More? No, no, keep going.
Okay,
What
you
else
want me
have
to
you
keep
got?
going?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And for the penis owners that can get hard or at least semi-hard, we actually have cock rings, right? So we have a set of three here. They come in three different sizes, right? So you almost say small, medium, large. Now, the interesting thing with these is that they have some stretch, not very giving, or forgiving, I should say, but it
Mhm,
has some stretch. Recommendation is if you have hair, definitely cut it down as much as you
mm,
can and then go from there. But these are actually very good to help you prolong, like your hardness. So that way, when you're having penetrative sex, or some individuals may, ejaculate quickly, whatever the case may be. So this is something good here. If you're not a fan of a ring that's thicker or anything like that,
mhm,
right? You want something a little bit thinner, then we have these that you can use as well, right? So you have like
mm,
um, thinner cock rings. And mind you, both of these that I've showed you or showing currently right now, these are silicone, right? To go from here, so you can actually use them with water-based lube as well. So,
great.
and good thing is that with these type of cock rings, you can actually slide them on right here, so you can slide them back, but then you
Mhm,
can actually stretch them. Excuse me. You can actually stretch them over top of or under the balls if you choose to. So let me
mhm.
see if I can go with something a little
Yeah.
bit larger just for visual purposes.
And with a cock ring, you need to be hard before you put it on, or you put it on while you're soft and you get yourself hard?
Um, I would always recommend that you want to be at least semi-hard or, fully hard. And
Mhm,
when you fully hard, then yep, put the cock ring on and go from there.
okay.
So as you see here, then what you can do is like you can stretch it so that it goes so I don't have both of my hands
Mhm.
and go from here. And so
Okay.
ultimately what happens is that it now not only it be able to get your penis, but then also your testicles as well. And it can
Okay.
keep everything hard there too.
So it's gripping. You're getting it because that's something that I get asked a lot is, does it go in front of the testicles or does it go behind the testicles?
Behind the testicles.
Mhm. So the cock rings are really good for people who, can get an erection, but
Correct.
then have trouble keeping an erection,
That's
right?
correct.
And that, I think it's so important because I feel like so many of the people that I've met, they, that are frustrated with getting an erection, losing an erection, whether it's because of position or because of, just whatever is going on. And
Mhm.
they really have this like, I, you know, the ring means I'm less than, as
Correct.
opposed to seeing it like there have been plenty of men that have come to me for sessions, and when I take their pants down, they already have their ring on
Yes.
and they're
Yes.
proud and they're excited to show me. And it's like,
Mm.
I can tell that the ring is their friend
Right.
compared to those where it's like, but I think from a sensory perspective, it takes, again, going back to it's important to practice,
Yes.
is that, it is different. It is adding a different sensation.
Yes. That's
And for
correct.
some people, just that can be the thing that if you don't practice, if you're not masturbating with it, if you're not trying it out, but then you're trying to use it, every once in a while, then your mind is going to be more focused on this doesn't feel like my norm
Mhm.
than, oh, yeah, this is just part of the enhancement of my pleasure.
Absolutely. Yep.
Hmm.
Oh, you're absolutely right about that.
Okay, what else?
Oh man, I still have a lot more stuff. So,
Okay, yeah.
so I also have something here. We call it a tenga egg, right?
Mm.
So looks in the form of a shape of an egg, pulls out here. And this is for whether you're hard or you're soft, right? So this is brand new. What you do is you pull this piece out here, right? And then it has lube inside. And what you do is you take the lube out, you squeeze it inside.
Oh.
And then ultimately what happens is that you stroke it over top of the penis. So literally like this. So can you see the penis here?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Okay.
there you go.
Okay, cool. Right? And then what you do is that you literally put it over top of the penis. Oh, give me 1 second here. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Man, the suction on this dildo is amazing. So what you do is you can stroke up and down, up and down, up and down,
Ah.
up and down, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put the lube on it, but literally it can go like halfway to three
Oh.
quarters down the entire penis. But some of us, like myself, I really only like to use the Tenga egg just for like the tip of the head.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for individuals that like to just, use a toy and get rid and discard it, Tenga eggs are good for that. They have some that are reusable. Then they have the ones that you for one time use, and then you can actually throw away from there. That's if
Gotcha.
that's what you choose to, right?
Gotcha.
So yeah,
Gotcha. And all these things that you're showing right now are also things that, when you're playing partnered play,
that's correct.
again, these are things that, that I could be manipulating on you,
That's
right? That
correct.
I can be enjoying, I can help put the ring on. I can play with the tanga. I can hold the stroker. Like, all these things can be used by yourself. But
That's correct.
also, I think a lot of times when we think of bringing in a sex toy for partnered play,
Hmm.
the mind tends to think more about we're bringing in the toy and the person with the penis is going to use the toy on the person with the vulva,
That's correct.
right?
That's
And I
correct.
think it's
But
it's really important for people with a vulva to also get more comfortable and
right,
knowledgeable about what kind of toys are out there for people with a penis so that we can feel like, we're not just like laying there waiting for you to have the toy do something to you, right?
right, and that's exactly how a lot of people envision it, right, or how they see it. And like the main thing is that like when it comes to these pleasure, is more so of creating that safe space.
Mm-hmm.
What I will say is that women or vulva owners have done a really good job in the last few years of kind of expressing what they like, what they want, and then go from there. Penis owners, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately what ends up happening is that, they're afraid to talk about sex toys. They're afraid to talk about their pleasure. They're afraid to talk of, actually show up to the bedroom or to wherever they're going to be playing and say, hey, I want you to use this on me. So ultimately what happens is that the vulva owner really doesn't know, is because guys are kind of, like hush hush or very secretive and go from there. What
Mm-hmm.
I've told, folks that are in various different types of relationships, whether it's, you know, man, two men, two women, or a man and a woman, is ultimately is that you can, if you don't want to see your partner actually using the products in the same room, you can go to a different room. You can get on the phone, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
act like as if you have like a long distance relationship. If you want to do like the video, whatever the case may be, you can close your eyes, you can imagine, or if you want to be in the same room, right? You can tell your partner to actually close their eyes while you're actually using that product on them, whispering in their ear, maybe nibbling on their ear, whatever they
Mm-hmm.
like. And then you can pretty much just go from there. Like, sex toys are meant to be cool, fun, engaging, not, you should be scared of it. It's not here to replace you. Like, it's literally to enhance your partnered play session or your solo session, right? The other thing that I want to mention to a lot of folks that will be listening, or that is listening, is that get out of your head that, every time that you're having sex that you have to have an orgasm,
Mm-hmm.
right? The orgasm is the icing on the cake. You don't necessarily have to have an orgasm. A lot of guys think, oh, I didn't give her an orgasm, or I didn't give him an orgasm, I feel less than, whatever the case may be. No, it's all about enjoying one another, what you like, and really just being lost in the moment. And if you orgasm, then that's the icing on the cake. If you don't beat yourself up about it.
Yeah, that's really
Yep.
nice. I appreciate you saying that. And I think that that brings me to something else that I was thinking of as you were showing all these toys. And I know you have a
Hmm.
couple more too.
Right.
But I always like to help people, especially people who have a penis and people
Hmm.
who love a person with a penis, to just remind people that, the orgasm, the ejaculation, and the blood flow are three different systems.
There are three different
There are 3
systems,
different
actually.
systems, and people, most people, until they have the experience of not having all that work at once,
Hmm.
think that they're all the same thing,
Absolutely.
right? But one of the beautiful things that I've learned by working with people who have erectile, differentiation
Hmm.
is like, oh, a lot of the people with penises that I work with that no longer get hard, their
Hmm.
orgasms are like mind blowing because,
Absolutely.
just like when you take away, like, when you were talking about putting the blindfold on and your senses,
Hmm.
when the mind body isn't all about the hardness,
Hmm.
then like the opportunity for the orgasm, which, the orgasm is about how the nerves are stimulated. So when
Absolutely.
you're using vibrators, like, why do we use vibrators? Vibrators tend to stimulate the nerves,
That's correct.
and you're going to get a little bit more heightened. I mean, just, I'm good with my hands, but I can't go to like speed 10 of what vibrators can do. And some people
Right.
really need, it's like a crash cart, right? Like
Right.
the batter, or, when you're getting your battery jumped, like
Right.
for
Yeah.
some people, their nervous system really needs that extra
Right.
in order to get to the
Right.
orgasm. And that doesn't mean that you're less than, it just means the way that my wiring is, I need that much more, right?
Right.
That much more type of
Right.
stimulation.
And to add on what you're saying is, and I see this in a lot of heterosexual couples, right? Where if they're having partnered sex and then all of a sudden, like the vulva owner or the woman does not have an orgasm, men immediately think that they're less than. Oh, I
Mhm.
didn't make her come. It's more so of like, I made her come. It's kind of like a beat on their chest, right? It wears the badge of honor. Little do they know that 60 plus, or I think it's 70 plus, or 70% of women or more actually need, some other type of stimulation or
Mhm.
clitoral stimulation, right? And that comes from a sex toy, whatever the case may be. They don't orgasm from penetrative sex. It's nothing
Exactly.
wrong with it, right? It's nothing wrong with it at all. It doesn't mean she doesn't like you. It doesn't mean that you suck at sex, whatever the case may be. It's just more so of she just needs that extra umph or that
Mhm.
battery shock to her system, like what you was essentially saying, right? But again,
Mhm.
toys are meant to be tried in various different things. So something else that I wanted to show here, right? This little toy right here. Okay, got the colors of like
Mhm.
the pride flag, but this is a vibrator here. Main use is for vaginal, but you can use it for clit. a clitoral stimulation, right?
Mm.
You have over 8 different speeds with this. Cool thing with it is you can use it on your clit, internal. You can use it on your nipples, side of your cheek, under your
Mm.
chin while you're giving oral. You can put it under a guy's testicles while you're riding, right? You can put a blindfold on. You can, use it as a massager, right? You can put gloves on and kind of keep it in the
Mm.
palm of your hand, and then put massage oil over top. So again, have
Mm.
a massage glove on, put the toy inside the massage glove, put some type of massage oil on top, and then you can give a vibrating massage.
Ooh.
There's various different things, you can do, if you're rimming, then you can actually take the toy and move around,
Mm.
like the outer portions of a person's like anus. There's various different things you can do. It's actually a little bit hard as well. So you can kind of use it as like a little bit of a spanking mechanism if
Mm.
that's what you choose to do, whatever the case may be. Or I've seen people actually put it down on a person's skin and then actually roll it up and
Ooh.
down by adding some type of pressure to it. So guess
Mm.
what? It can actually be used for if you have some type of kinks in your back as well.
Yeah.
So you got other health issues just besides, like your sexual pleasure as well.
You
So
mean
you
the
see how
personal
this,
massager?
you got it. You got it. And so here's the thing, like I literally just showing you this one particular product, but I didn't showed you like over 5 different ways that you can actually use
Mhm.
it, right? And that's with a lot of these various different products.
And what's
Get
that
the
called?
This one right here is called the Chroma. I have to go back
Mm.
and take a look, but it's one of my newest products that
Mm.
actually just came out.
Ooh,
So yes, it
pretty
will be
too.
listed on the website, and it's
Mhm.
pretty strong as well. So give me a second, I'll turn it on for you. Can you hear it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's speed number
Mhm.
1. That's 2, right? You have 3,
Yeah, that's nice.
and this is like a steady speed, something that's
Mhm.
very strong. So like my vulva owners would be like, I just want no patterns. I just want something very
Mhm.
strong and to the point. This is
Mhm.
it. This is where
That's
it
nice.
is. And then it starts to go through the different functions. So even if I just put it here on my computer,
Mm.
you can hear
Mhm.
that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's a very strong toy. It actually has my fingers tingling right now.
I like too that it has the controls on the bottom because I've noticed that a lot of the toys that are coming out now that are more of like the high grade silicone toys, they're
Correct.
putting the controls on the side
Yes,
and the buttons are kind of hard to find.
I agree with
You
you.
know,
I
and
agree with you.
especially if they're toys that are like, I don't understand, like, the toys that are meant for penetration, when
Hmm.
the when the buttons are on the side,
Hmm.
you're like,
Yeah,
"But
yeah.
they're inside me."
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you on that. And also, like, I feel sometimes like where they put the buttons at, and when you have lube on your hands and stuff like that, like it just becomes like a
Mhm.
a pain,
Yeah.
right? So here's the toy or 2 toys that I want to show that can be used for vulva owners that that their partners can actually use with them, right? So
Mhm.
this is a toy by a company called Honey Playbox, which is awesome here. So I'll turn this on. So just give me 1 second here. And a lot of these toys now actually have like a lock on them. So it actually you have to press the button, hold it for a few seconds,
Mm.
then it comes on. So right now the light is on, but I haven't hit a button here. So if I hit this button here,
Oh.
so as you can see,
Mhm.
this is a fully waterproof toy here. So
Mm.
the main use is to insert in, curve up, and play with your G spot, right? And then I can actually turn on the vibration. So it's currently vibrating at the tip here, all while you have this flickering
Yeah.
tongue, so to speak. And you can use these independently if you will. So if I really wanted to turn this part off, I could.
Mhm.
Give me 1 second here. And so currently right now, as you can see, I just got the vibration of the
Okay.
G spot part.
Got it.
So let's say you had children at home, whatever the case may be, this part right here might be a little too loud. You can
Mm.
turn that off and just mainly use this point here. But
Mm.
again, you can use this for internal, right? You can use this for massage, right? Whatever you choose
Mhm.
to do. I know one of the things I like to do is that my partner just loves, like the tingly feeling all over her body. So what I do is I blindfold and I put it on the tip of her nose.
Mm.
And while putting it on the tip of her nose, it makes her nose tickle. But then sometimes it kind of sends like that tickling
Yeah.
sensation
Mm.
throughout her body. That's something that we've learned over time. Again, just by having a conversation. It was actually mistakenly, I took the product, was just playing around. I put it on her nose and she was just like, oh, I really like that. And so then when I
Mm.
had it on her nose even more, And, she was just in this euphoric state. She was actually just starting to feel it throughout her entire body, right?
Mm,
So that's one of these cool toys. And
beautiful.
what I like about this toy is that it's waterproof, right? Silicone as well. It has some type of flex to it. Not much, because you have this part
Mm-hmm.
here, right? But it's 100% waterproof.
Nice.
Has a magnetic port
Oh
here,
yeah. Yeah.
right? Not 100% big fan of like magnetics, like toys.
Mm-hmm.
However, what I do like about it is that it's submersible, right?
Mm,
When you have the toys that has a little pinhole, those aren't submersible because we don't want the water to
mm.
actually get into like the hole here, right? Only thing I would just venture to say is people with pacemakers, you may just want to stay away.
Oh. Hold that toy up again. I'm curious,
Absolutely.
like,
Sure.
so make the flicker thing happen.
Absolutely.
Because you said this was for vulva owners, but as I'm looking at it, I mean, I'm imagining that you could, if you, like if you weren't a vulva owner, you could like place the rounded part like behind your balls,
That's
and
correct.
then
You
you would
could.
have the flicker kind of
That's
in the
abs-
perineum,
that's right.
right? And you could kind
That's
of
right.
sit, like you could sit on it, or you could do it the other way and have the vibration kind of closer to your ass
Yeah,
and have
that's
the
right.
flicker there. But I think, again, when I'm thinking about for people who are trying to now, because we talked about like the vibration for orgasm, but
Mm-hmm.
for blood flow, I could see how, getting that flickering more on that perineal part of the male pelvis, where
Right.
sometimes we need to encourage more blood flow to come into that in order to
Right.
build the erection from within,
Right.
that I could see that could be a great, I'm going to put that as homework for you.
You know what? I'm going to definitely try that. I actually have one for myself, so I will try it and I will report back to
Okay,
you.
good.
But I have not tried that yet. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said before, these are just some of the new toys that I just probably got in maybe about like a week ago.
Nice.
And so I haven't had a chance to. So something else I'll show you here that I have. Give me 1 second. This is what happens when the buttons aren't clearly labeled, right?
Mm-hmm.
When a clear label, you
Yep.
really can't tell which one's the power button, which one's not. So right now I have like vibration going on, but as you see, I
Okay.
have like these little beads here, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you literally feel vibration here, here, up here, and here, right? So yes, this is a toy that I'm going to take right off of what you just said,
Mm-hmm.
right? A penis owner can actually sit on this particular toy right here, and or although I do know that it doesn't have a flared bottom or anything like that, but you actually have something that can
Yeah.
stop from being, going all the way in, but maybe just up to this point here is what you can use maybe for inserting it in, like for anal as well. Now, when I hit the top button here, I get these little balls moving,
Ooh, look at that.
right? And so
Yeah.
like right now, literally in my hand, I
Mm-hmm.
feel it's very intense in my hand, and like my fingers are like a little
Mm-hmm.
tingly inside. And as you can see now, I got this ball moving.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So what you
Yeah.
do is when you're playing with your partner, and let's just say you want to use it for a vulva owner, so to speak, right? You can really use these things independently. You can use them together. You can figure out
Mm-hmm.
what she likes, what she doesn't like, and then pretty much just go from
I'm
there.
mesmerized.
Absolutely. Like I said before, like this is pretty much some new things I
Mhm.
got my hands on.
Yeah.
And like when I first turned it on, I was like, oh my God.
Right.
So yeah, so like this ball right here has now got super intense. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you imagine all of that's now moving around? Now here, let's add in a caveat, right? Let's add in some things. So you got your partner. This is inserted in you. Vaginally, it's curved up. It's playing with the G spot. It's very intense, right? You can also put on like nipple clamps if you choose to,
Mm-hmm.
and or you can put on like nipple suckers if you want, and then you can pretty much go from there. And then I also have other toys. I didn't bring it into the office this evening, but we have other toys like Lovints and things of that nature that are actually app controlled. So
Mm.
imagine that the partner or that the penis owner has an anal plug in his anus and is connected to the music in the room
Yeah.
that's playing, and then he's getting, pleasure in his anus, while this is being played. So various different things that you can use here in order to be able to have a pleasurable
Mm.
experience, right? And
Love
again,
that.
everything I just showed here, nothing looks like a dildo, a dick, a
Mm-hmm.
dong, whatever it says, and go from there, right?
Right.
But then also toys that you can easily travel with as well. There's some of the things I just wanted to show you here.
Mm.
So like it's literally I'm on the third speed, but you can see how intense that ball is now moving,
Yeah. Look at that.
right? So yeah, and then I'll just see. And now these balls up here are starting to move a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
intense as well. And meanwhile, as I'm increasing the speed, you feel the vibration is getting stronger and stronger here as well. So yeah, so some pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool toys, right?
So what's your answer to when people say, especially with vibrators, like, oh, I'm gonna get addicted to it, or,
Hmm.
I'm especially, I hear this more for people who have a clitoris, where it's like, I can't get off unless I use a vibrator.
Right,
So
right,
what's your thought about the whole, I'm gonna get addicted to the toy and
right.
nothing else is gonna work for me?
Yeah, so get out of your head that like sex toys are like addicting, right? Or like you're gonna get addicted, or oh, I'm gonna go sensitive, or whatever the case may
Mhm.
be. Ultimately, one of the things you do is just lay off the toy. Just don't use it for a day or two,
Yeah.
right? It's really just that simple. And you know, what they'll say, oh, I'll completely lose my, I won't be sensitive there no more. That's been debunked over and over and over again,
Mhm.
right? The key is just to leave the toy alone. Like that's it, right? And then just engage and go from there.
Mhm.
However, like I said before, a lot of people or a lot of women or clit owners or excuse me, vulva owners, their main thing is that um is that ultimately they might be within the 70% range where they have to have, additional oomph or clitoral stimulation in order to be able to get off. So it's not going to desensitize you. It's not going to make it to the point where, you can't get off or anything like that, or you're going to be addicted to the toy, sex toy or
Mhm.
anything like that. None of this stuff is like a drug or anything like that. Ultimately it's just, leave the toy alone for a few hours or a day or maybe a week, whatever the case may be, and then you'll go back to being normal, having your normal feeling and sensations, and then pretty much moving from there.
Nice, good. Yeah, and I would say too that if you're taking a break, if it has felt like sometimes I've had some electric vibration where afterwards I'm like, oh, like that kind
That
of
was very
did, it just kind
intense.
of numbed me a little bit and I
Right.
can feel for the next day or so. And so that's where, like, in terms of when we were talking about lube, like that's where I might come back in with something that is more soothing, like a grapeseed oil or something that's a
Absolutely.
natural lubricant, really work on my, just kind of touching myself, like not being afraid to touch, but kind of touching myself with my own hand,
Right.
right? So that there's more of the like the nerve and the energy current that comes from the body to
Correct.
body versus, electricity to body. And then I find that it soothes, that it calms down, and then I
Right.
can go back to vibration.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I've come across some people where they just immediately think that once they feel what you just mentioned, that
Mhm.
that's it. They're going to always be that
Exactly.
way, go for that. And that's really just not the case.
Mhm.
Because guess what? As penis owners, we deal with that as well.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to that when you were showing the other toy and you were talking about, kind of all the different things that can happen, and it made me
Hmm.
think about how, for people who have rapid ejaculation, one of the things that I see happen as a pattern really frequently is someone says, they're struggling with rapid ejaculation, and the first thing that
Hmm.
I say, right, they want to work with me about that, and the first thing that I say is, tell me about your refractory period.
Hmm.
Because for a lot of people, what I see happen is, and what I hear happen is that they come too fast
That's yeah.
and then sex is over.
Yep.
Right. And I'm like,
Mm.
well, no, like don't have the ejaculation be the end. Right. Give yourself, a time, like say, we've set aside an hour to play today.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, if you come in 5 minutes, you come in 5 minutes. But that's where like so much delicious toy play can happen in the refractory period, right?
I agree with you.
Allow the penis to go back to being soft. Allow, the penis is excited. You let it out. You're like, ooh,
Right.
come on out. And
Absolutely.
then, bring out the toys. I love like having toy play. Like I'll play with a toy by myself, on myself while my partner is sucking on my nipples,
Right.
right? So like they can relax a little bit after that first round. I'm
Correct.
still like often, I'm still ready to go,
Hmm.
so my, because of the difference of the way that prolactin works and all these different things happen,
Hmm.
as long as the person with a penis doesn't tap out because they've come, you
Right.
know, there's so many more things that can happen. But I think the disappointment happens when the mind says, "Oh, this is the end."
the mind or the partner that they're with actually shames them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's something that you see like, oh, he or she came too fast or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
case may be. And then that individual is shamed. And then that's plugged into your mind. It's because I came too fast. Sex is over. I'm done. There's,
Right.
there's no coming back from this. I'm now going to be labeled as a 30-second man or a 1 minute man or whatever the case may be
Mm-hmm.
and go from there.
Right.
When it's exactly what you said, which is allow your body to, relax, recuperate, but more importantly, play with toys. And then also just create that environment where it's okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. You
Mm-hmm.
came fast. It's not a big deal. Let's
Exactly.
continually just move through the flow,
Right.
right? Even if sex is, like, let's just say you have tapped out, right? There's other things that you can do. You can go back to oral, you can go to cuddling, whatever the case may be,
Mm-hmm.
and go from there. And ultimately, what ends up happening is by creating that environment where, it's okay if you have a slip up or what you perceive to be a slip up, and everybody is okay in what has happened. A lot of times in your mind, you can say, oh, I forgive myself. Let me play
Mm.
with a sex toy. Let me, eat her out,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. And then before you know it, you're back up or you're semi hard and now you're ready to go again. Right.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. And the other piece that I see people get caught up on this one is about, the mess, right? Oh,
Yes.
because there's now been the ejaculation,
Hmm.
then everything's going to stop, right? So, for some people, that's not a stop point, but for a lot of
Right.
people, it becomes a stop point. So, it's okay to take a breather, take a break, get a warm towel, have that be part of what you do. And then
Right.
again, but you don't have to stop the whole experience. You can incorporate the
Again,
cleanup as part of the playtime.
absolutely. And then also, it's more so something that we've been talking about through this entire call, right? Which is communication,
Yep.
right? Like, hey, we need to, clean up here, whatever the case may be. And like you say, cleanup can be part of that, right? So if you're wiping off the bed or if you're, grabbing the sheets, whatever the case may be, your partner can walk up behind you, maybe put
Hmm.
your leg up on the bed, maybe, eat you from, like orally please you from various different positions. Again, all of this, doesn't have to be like, oh, we came or you came and now it's all over the sheets and it's gross and now I have to clean up and
Yep.
go from there. You don't have to have that, right? But again,
Exactly.
it's all about communication, and if you can, the more of this stuff that you can iron out in the beginning before you even get into like intercourse, the easier and the smoother that transition will be.
Yep. Okay. You got any more toys there?
Um, I actually have three more I would like to show.
Great.
Right? So one I would show here is just like one that fits on your finger, right?
Hmm.
So think about the rose. I know I'm not giving anyone the FU sign, right?
Mhm.
But basically this is like the rose. So it's like a suction toy, but it's like a bunny rabbit. And it does the same exact thing that the rose does. So this is like a foreplay toy. So you can use this on like your clit, right? You can use it like on your nipples, like as well, right? For your partner. I've had some people say, oh, I'd even use it on like my partner's testicles.
Mm,
Didn't necessarily work for me, but some people have
mhm.
told me and reported back to me, and I was just like, okay, great. But for me, it didn't do anything, but more so nipples, yes. And with a partner on your clit, definitely. So when we were talking about toys of like ramming and
Mhm.
jabbing and all of this stuff, you don't have to worry about that because you have something as
Mm,
simple as this, right? And it just slides right on your finger.
mm.
And it can go to any finger that you like, whichever one is on your dominant hand, whichever finger you think you can control the best, and then you can go from there. So that's one. The other thing I wanted to show here is like this little toy here
Mm.
for penis owners, right? They call this the male rose. Why? It doesn't look anything like a rose to me,
It's like a tulip.
but exactly. So what
Mhm.
you do is you turn this on,
Or a
right?
fish.
And then what you do is right now it's
Mhm.
vibrating, right? So what you do is your penis can go in here, whether you're soft or
Mhm.
you're hard or semi-hard. Then what you do is it spins around.
Oh.
But the good thing, what I would mention is that you definitely want to be lubed up when you use this toy, right? Because you don't want anything like ripping or pulling your skin to either side. Now, cool thing. And then what you do is you can control left, right,
Mhm.
right? You can increase the speed and go from there. So it's literally going clockwise, then it
Mhm.
stops and go counterclockwise.
Mhm.
What I preferably like to do when I'm using this type of toy is to actually use it just on the tip of the head. So to give you an example,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't I don't have it lubed up.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Hmm.
So that's another good toy. And then the last one I'll show you here is this guy right here. So this is kind of like the granddaddy of the suction toys, right? So this is by a company called Tracy's Dog, right?
Mm.
So this part inserts in vaginally, curves up, play with your G spot. This right here in the hole, your clit. What I really like about this is that it has an actual larger hole.
Hmm.
So for the vulva owners that have like a larger anatomy there, right? It actually will fit. And cool thing about this
Mm.
is you can use these independently, this, or you can use this as a handle. So literally you
Oh,
can
yeah,
use
yeah,
it
yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
Or if you just want to have this vibration on,
Hmm.
right? You can kind of use it for pinpoint stimulation, like on the clit. You can use
Hmm.
it on your nose. You can use it on your body, whatever you choose to do. And what I like about it is that it definitely flexes
Oh, yeah.
back and forth here,
Hmm.
right? And this is very soft silicone, very soft silicone. So those are all the thing, excuse me, things I wanted to show
Fabulous.
today.
Fabulous. So, just to recap, we have things that vibrate,
That's
we
correct.
have things that suck,
That's
we have
correct.
things that you can insert into,
Hmm.
or stroke down on. We have things that can kind of slide on you,
Hmm.
right? We have the rings.
That's correct.
Hmm. And all of those and everything, has multitude of possibilities, right? It's
That's
then what we
correct.
bring our imagination to, how we communicate with our partner. Um, and then what are you seeing, like what you didn't bring, but kind of what are you seeing happening in the world of sex toys? Like, is it a market that is growing? Is it kind of flattening out? Is there new innovation? Where are things going?
Okay, that's a great question. So there's a multitude of things that's going on right now, right? And even issues as well. So in the market, what we're seeing is that it's growing. We're definitely getting to the point where they're embracing technology more and more. And for someone that's actually in the tech space, I absolutely love that, right? So prime example, you'll have toys now that, you know, we talked about like wireless toys. You have some toys that you can only control up to 15 feet, 20 feet, 30
Hmm.
feet, 50 feet. But now they actually have toys that you can control worldwide, right? So one of those brands is called Lovin's. What I love about Lovin's is they have a New Year's Eve party. And basically what they do is they throw a map up of the globe and everybody that has their toys. And what you do is you can connect your toys and then someone can say, okay, I'm in South Korea, but
Mm.
I see a person in Maryland and I want to connect it to their toy. You connect to the toy, you give them access, and then they can literally can control it. And
Wow.
you all are just can see where everybody is located, not down to your address, but essentially
Hmm.
where you are in the world, right? And then you just see all of these people are enjoying pleasure, right?
Mm.
So I thought that that was something that was pretty unique and
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing is that we're starting to. I feel like we have a problem with like uniqueness. So
Mm.
like when one brand finds something, i.e., like the rose, everybody else pretty much jumps on it. Only
Mhm.
thing that they do is they just change the branding of the actual box, but it's normally the same toy. And then one of the issues that we have in the business is like there's a lot of dupes, right? A
Mm.
lot of fake toys, a lot of toys that are made of, like not so good materials and things of that nature. So actually getting the word out to customers and stuff like that, where, you're buying from a website where they're telling you a toy costs $7, then, if it's too good to be true,
Mhm.
don't believe it, right? You know what
Right.
I mean? So at the end of the day, because you don't know what those type of
Right.
materials,
Because
toys
some
are made out of,
materials are not body safe, right? Like some
that's
materials you
correct.
don't want to put into your body or that they
That's
can
correct.
degrade.
And that's right. And another thing that I tell clients is that if where you're buying the products from doesn't come with a minimum of a 1 year warranty, you
Mm.
should think about that, right?
Mhm.
So like, like with my business at Platinum Treasures, even if the manufacturer doesn't offer a warranty, at a bare minimum, Platinum Treasures offer a 1 year warranty,
Mm.
right?
Great.
Because we want you to have pleasurable sex. We want you to use body safe products. And we don't want you to use products that's actually been, used before,
Mm.
right? So we see that as being a problem as well. But a lot of people I know sometimes price can be a problem. So, so a lot of companies or a lot of, bad actors, I should say, are really lowering the prices of products, but the product is inferior, or it's just, cheap just in general. And it's really not body safe products, right? So whether you buy those toys from a company like myself or go into your local sex toy store, I would definitely recommend that, because you're getting a quality product. They stand behind that quality product versus what you're seeing online. Yes, I know you see all of the great reviews, but just remember, there's a lot of people that's being paid a lot of money in order to say that this product is great. And then also you have the power of AI as well, where people can literally just say, hey, write me 1,000, customer reviews, and go from there. And you see all these great things, but when you get the product, it actually sucks, right? Or it's not body safe.
Yeah.
So just keep that in your mind as well.
That's smart. That's smart. When I'm recommending toys for people and they are able to go into a store, and, I also want to say, I have yet to ever go into a sex toy shop where the people who work there weren't excited when I
Right.
said, I'm looking for something and I need help. I think a lot of
Yes.
people,
Yes.
they come into a store nervous, or feel like they're not supposed to be there. I think especially people with a penis, when they walk
Right.
into a sex toy shop, there's a lot of
Agreed.
like, I'm trying to do it surreptitiously, and I've yet to
Absolutely.
meet, I mean, they're there for service, and so
Yeah.
I've yet to meet someone where I say,
Mhm.
this is the kind of like, this is what I'm looking for. Show me what's on the shelves. That's kind of,
Right.
so,
Right.
advocate. I really advocate, like, go in and get a lay of the land if you
Right.
can, in person, because you can get that tactile, like if, they'll let you feel the vibration,
Mhm.
let you touch the toy. And I often will encourage people to try something on like this part of their wrist
That's
is
correct.
really thin skin, or like in
Correct.
here,
That's
there's a
correct.
lot of nerve endings. So if you're wondering, like, well, what is this going to feel like on my penis or on my vulva
Mhm.
or on my clitoris? That actually stroking in these areas will give you a pretty good sense of your body
Absolutely.
saying, ooh, I like this, or your body going, no, that's not for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I would just say is like advocating, right? To add on that is that penis owners, men, anyone that has a dick, right? Let's just say it like that,
Mm-hmm.
is that don't be ashamed,
Yeah.
right? When you go into these sex toy stores and stuff like that, yes, I understand and I know the shame that just comes with being a man, and and it's just we should be we should be macho, and we shouldn't do this, and we shouldn't use sex toys, and you're made to be less than. But please work to own your own pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Learn and get a feel for what you like, because the best way you're going to have great sex or awesome sex, or however you choose to say it, is by advocating for yourself and really telling your partner or whoever you're being intimate with what you like and what you dislike, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you can't do those things and you're essentially just taking what that person give you, right? That's what leads to people saying, sex sucks, or they may want to go cheat, or whatever the case may be. We don't want any of that. At the end of the day, just advocate for what you like. Try different things. And mark my word, I was one of those guys where I really cared about any and everything what people has thought. And now I'm to the point in my life where I really don't care what people think. And I've tried various different things, and me just having that outward, like perspective has actually helped other individuals. I can't tell you how many times I've had people go on my website, make purchases, send me notes in an email. This is awesome. This is great. Thank you for being like a walking billboard for men. And go from there. And then they're be more and more open and more inclined. I've even had their partners reach out to me and say, hey, you know, this particular person is, my partner is no longer ashamed to use sex toys. Now sex has exploded. And now, we're gone from the bedroom to now we're going to a BDSM dungeon and stuff like that. I get excited about all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, uberly excited. Because what I've really got into this business is that I wanted to see people have pleasure, right? Ultimately, I got in for it because people that look like myself wasn't really, they were getting wrong information. And this is both vulva and penis owners as it related to just information just in general. And I felt as though that we were just behind the 8 ball as it related to orgasm, sex, and just sex education just in general, right? And also the highest STD rates and things of that nature. Now that I've been in this business 13, getting ready to go on 14 years in 2025 in April, what I'm starting to learn is that like the women or vulva owners has really taken ownership of their pleasure, right? Although we still have that pleasure gap there, and I'm really, really working hard to try to close that gap. But now what I'm starting to see is penis owners or men really starting to advocate for themselves as far as what they like and what they dislike. We still have a long way to go, but at the end of the day, I'm appreciative to have them at toy parties, asking questions. Even if you're just discreetly asking me a question or you're sending me a message anonymously, it's fine. My goal is to get you to be more open, understand sex, understand pleasure, and to be able to experience at its highest levels possible.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. So we will end there because that was just a beautiful, that's what it's all about. And that's what we're all about with Sofcock
Awesome.
Appreciation Week too. You know, I mean, I do this because, you know, having been in love with an African-American man who fell into, you know, a statistic with diabetes.
Yes.
And I go to these prostate cancer conferences, and, you know, prostate cancer kills African-American men at double the rate of everybody else.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we, you know, what the prostate cancer community is advocating and what they seem to know from the Harvard Cancer Study is that, you know, it's healthy to ejaculate. We want men to ejaculate about 21 times a month. That's 4 to 5 times a week. And so if you're not doing that through partnered sex, we want you to be masturbating. We want to get that ejaculation moving and keeping you healthy and flushing. So get your toys.
That's right. Absolutely.
Carl, the toy guy, how can people connect with you? You are such an amazing resource. So if people have questions about the toys, how do they get to your site? Let us know everything about ways for people to get more of you.
Awesome. That's great. So in order to connect with me, you can connect with me on my website. The website is www.pttreasures.com. So that's PTTreasures.com. So essentially PT, which is the periodic table element for platinum, and then the word treasures, all one word.com. You can also reach me by email at toyguy@pttreasures.com. I'm also on social media as well. I'm on X as PT_treasures. On Facebook, you can find me under Toy Guy. And I have a fan page, and then I also have your personal page where you can send me a friend request. And you can always send me a DM there or a message there, and I'm quick to answer the messages there.
And you're on Instagram too?
Yes, I think that's it. Or Instagram, I'm under PT_treasures as well.
Great. Good. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you for bringing all of your show and tell today.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
It's so wonderful. And thank you for joining us this year. You've brought so much wisdom to everything that you've brought. And I hope that people will be encouraged to go out and expand their way of thinking about toys, expand their play with partners, with themselves, and just enjoy the joy. Like it's so, to me, it's like, you know, we lose that childlike opportunity of having a play date as we get older. And sex is such a great way to have a play date with other people as well as with ourselves. Plays well with self and others is definitely the way to go.
Agreed. And last thing I want to say is to my penis owners, ejaculate more. Your penis will thank you.
Exactly.